Hey guys, it's Sky. I got a Stamplar build video for you today. This is the same build that I used in my last video that I uploaded about 4 months ago. I took a break from ESO, but I am back playing again now. Couldn't stay away. Got a new microphone, got some new office setup, and so you'll see me on YouTube more and possibly, hopefully, on Twitch in the near future. Same name that I've streamed under before, just Sky_ESO on Twitch. So anyways, this is going to be a really in-depth build video. I will do timestamps in the description if you want to just jump ahead, if you just want to see like how I'm running my CP or what gear I'm running or why I have the skills I do. So just to jump straight in, I love this build. Like I said, I haven't played ESO in a while, so I'm really sorry if I'm like, this is a super popular build. I haven't seen people using this setup and from my playing in Cyrodiil the last week or so. And we're on the PTS, by the way. So I'm running Blood Spawn and I'm running Mechanical Acuity on the body, 5 pieces on the body, and I'm running New Moon Acolyte on the jewelry and front bar, and Black Rose Perfected dual wield on my back bar. So just to start straight off, I think Blood Spawn's the best like balanced setup for this. You can go super trolly, get it, and run Troll King. This will also, I believe, get you better survivability and make you even harder to kill. Or you can go Baylorg for more damage, because Baylorg times really well with the burst on this build, how it works. Because basically the way this build works is once we have all our buffs up and everything, we stun someone, get Power of the Light on them, and then start jabbing, and then we onslaught, and we have Mechanical Acuity up, so we're getting guaranteed critical hits with our jabs and with our Power of the Light, while we're ignoring almost all of their resistances with Onslaught. So anyways, it's crazy burst, and there's just enough sustain and survivability to make it all come together and make you, be able to use the Stamplar's tools of Purge and halfway decent heals, and be able to sustain and do damage consistently. So I'm running 5-1-1. If you don't have Undaunted Metal, I recommend 5 medium and 2 heavy rather than 5 medium, 1 heavy, 1 light. I personally run heavy chest and light sash because that just min-maxes your resistances. For glyphs, I'm running 3 prismatic all on the big pieces, and I'm running stam on the small pieces. Normally I like to run full prismatic, but since we're running 3 infused on the jewelry, we need to keep our stamina pool up, and this gives us just over 30k stamina if everything's gold. If you don't have everything golded out, then you're probably going to want like 1 robust piece, and so we're running a Nern Maul on the front bar. Even with the penetration that we get from Onslaught, I still think Maul's the best for Onslaught's downtime. It just really chunks away since we don't have access to Major Fracture on Stamplar without running like, Sword and Board or something. It really helps us do damage when our Onslaught penetration is not up. And then back bar, we're running Black Rose Perfected. Non-perfected works fine. You can also run potentiates, potato tates, whatever you want to call it, on the back bar if you don't like Black Rose. I think some people have a problem with it. Probably the same people who have a problem with Troll King. I don't really judge. I don't really care. I fight, 1v15, 2v20 all day, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over what sets I'm using. I'm already at enough of a disadvantage. Another option is the Master's Bow for some more damage, and you can get Major Expedition through dodge rolling that way too. But no matter what, I recommend getting Major Expedition. But just one last option is to go with a shield and whatever one-hander of potentiates and run Ransack on your back bar. If you just really like shields, you could also run Deep Slash. If you do end up using shield on your back bar, I recommend running Spell Wall instead of Remembrance, but we'll get into all that in a second. So for glyphs, on my weapon, I'm running the weapon damage increase. It just, once again, it synergizes with what we're trying to do, and that's just create like a 5-second burst window of just insane damage. Also, by the way, a lot of this damage is undodgeable, which is really nice. They can't dodge our sweeps, they can't dodge our power of the light. So as long as they don't dodge your onslaught, you're going to do huge damage. And then back bar, I'm running poisons, these traumatic poisons. This is just the 2 dragon ingredients. But it basically just takes away 2,000 healing, which isn't that big of a deal. But it does give us minor heroism as well, which is really nice to have. Also, these poisons, one thing they do while we're running the Black Rose set is if we just kind of stand here, see, I think the poison just procced, so it'll proc while we're on our front bar because of the weapons we're running on our back bar. It's really nice. It kind of just gives us like a passive healing reduction. We don't even really need to pay attention to it as long as Quick Cloak is up. So, and then for my jewelry glyphs, I'm running 2 weapon damage, 1 stam recovery. If you run something besides Bloodspawn, if you're running Baylorg or Troll King, I'd probably recommend getting the Serpent Mundus. This one is the Serpent Mundus. I'm running the Warrior currently, but I recommend getting the Serpent Mundus if you're not going to run Bloodspawn, because we do lose that 1-piece stam recovery, and that'll put you at like that puts you at like, I don't know, 1800 fully buffed with minor and major endurance. So that's a really low amount of stam recovery for me personally. Another option, since this is 2 crafted sets, I want to talk about the infused and the gold, because not a lot of people are going to have gold. I think purple infused is fine. I think if you can't even get up to purple, then I would run blue robust. This is what I would recommend with the same enchants, 2 weapon damage, 1 stam recovery. I recommend blue robust if you can't get up to gold or purple infused. I don't recommend running blue infused. So as far as skills go, there's a lot of options here. I'm just going to go over the bars real quick. I run Rally, Javelin, so I got a burst heal and a stun, guaranteed stun, as long as they don't dodge it. Sweeps, jabs, whatever you want to call it, as our main damage skill. Power of the Light, I use this in place of an execute. You can also run it like this with an execute and Power of the Light. I personally just don't see the need with this build. The amount of damage that we're pumping into this Power of the Light, and if it crits, is enough to avoid having an execute. And then Onslaught, obviously front bar. You could run Dawnbreaker, but I don't think it synergizes very well with this build. On my back bar, we're going to run Quick Cloak. Quick Cloak's going to give us that major protection from the Black Rose dual wield. It's also going to give us major expedition, and it's going to give us a teeny bit of damage. And it's going to proc our poisons while we're on our front bar, like we talked about. Extended Ritual, this is our purge here. This is our shuffle, this is our snare cleanse. I run shuffle and Quick Cloak. I just like the 5-second immunity from shuffle, even though I'm essentially getting 2 sources of major evasion, which doesn't stack, so it's kind of pointless there. I just like the immunity from shuffle, but you can run Race Against Time. That'll give you minor force, which will help your damage as well. So that is another possibility there. If you think you can sustain it Magicka-wise, it's probably not too difficult, but I just run shuffle. I like 5 seconds of snare immunity is awesome. It's really, shuffle's been really good since they buffed it, in my opinion. Restoring focus, this is our major and minor resistances, and it also gives us some stamina back. So with our 2k recovery, this restoring focus, and occasionally getting to pop a repentance, you can really you can sustain pretty well with just 2,000 stam recovery while you're fighting outnumbered. And then Vigor, of course, our heal. So just heal over 4 seconds, real basic. We keep it on our back bar. I like having 1 heal on each bar, but if you really want to just think you're going to be on your front bar more, you could run this. You could run the other Morph of Race Against Time instead of Repentance, just to give you 30 seconds of minor force. Totally fine. You could run this. Whoops, you want Vigor though. You could run this with Camo Hunter. I've done this a lot. it does give us that minor berserk, and it gives us the 3% from Slayer. But we do already get the major savagery from our jabs, so it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. And then I like Remembrance on my back bar because I'm usually duoing lately, and that can help. But you can also run Temporal Guard for minor protection, or you can run probably just want to run Temporal Guard. I mean, you could run Warhorn, and the aggressive Horn morph gives you major force, I believe. So that could be really cool with your mechanical acuity. I don't know. I've never tried that. If someone tries that, let me know. And then, like I said, if you're gonna run bow back bar, poison injection. If you're gonna run one hand shield back bar, ransack, or deep slash. Deep slash is a really good skill. Ransack, though, gives you major fracture, which is really nice. But like I said, I just prefer the mobility that Quick Cloak gives me. Other things, we've got food. I run Artaeum Takeaway Broth. If you can't afford that, I recommend Dubious Camoran Throne. For potions, I run mainly these ones, the Health, Stam, and Physical Resistance. With those potions, I get insane resistances, and this is before Blood Spawn, so I get 27 6 and 27-9 if I'm on my rune, 25 if I'm off, and that's with double defending back bar. So we're running defending on both of these. You could run Nern defending too if you want to buff your vigor heals on your back bar, but we still have 4100 damage for our vigor, which is plenty big. See, so healing's halved in Cyrodiil, so we're still going to get like a 3150 vigor tick. Also, the other potions you could run are tripods just to be able to purge more. Magicka can get scarce if you're really kiting a lot, you know, and doing a lot of line of sighting. You can run through purges really quick, especially if you're trying to drop them for your buddies, since it's such an expensive skill. So, other questions. Okay, I know this is probably going to come up. So why am I running mechanical acuity on 5-piece instead of just my front bar? So, I like having the maximum magicka on my back bar. If I were to just run mechanical acuity on my front bar, I'd only have 12k magicka on my back bar. But since my back bar is where my purge is, I want the most magicka possible on that bar. It does happen, you know, sometimes we're, I don't know, doing this CSC and we proc our mechanical acuity on our back bar, so it isn't ideal, but that scenario is a lot more rare than you needing just one more purge and having 1000 magicka less than you need to do it to survive a fight. So also, as far as monster helmets go, I really think that if you're gonna run Troll King, you should use this food, the Artaeum Takeaway Broth. I've found that if you have like less than 3000 health recovery, which you will have less than 3000 health recovery with Troll King proc while you're running Dubious Camoran or something besides Artaeum, under 3k recovery with Troll King up isn't really worth it in my opinion. 3k is basically what gives you 1500 health every second, so that's kind of, I don't know, that's the line I draw and what I recommend. And then last thing real quick before you go into CP, our health right here says 18.7, but that does get us right to 25,000 health while we're in Cyrodiil in a CP campaign. This is a CP build. Don't use this in no CP. You don't get the crit bonus from CP, so it's not worth it. Which, if anyone didn't know, I'm sure you all know, but if anyone didn't know, Templar gets a 10% critical damage done bonus when you have an Adric Spear ability slotted, so this partnered with our CP, we're going to get a huge amount of damage done. You could run the Shadow Mundus, I guess, if you wanted even more critical damage done, but I just prefer the weapon damage for my heals or the stam recovery for my sustain personally. So real quick, just going over CP, one thing I will say is that CP is really kind of personalized, and you guys are gonna have to play with it and see what you want. This is just how I run it. It's pretty much the same on all of my stamina tunes. So I run 48 Warlord for 18% reduction, break free, 23 Spinner for 14% reduction of sprint, 1 in Siphoner. This allows us to create another purge slot if we're fighting another Templar or someone using one of the purge abilities. Basically You don't need to get up to 1%. You only need 1 point, and it will show up on their debuff sheet. So that's why I run it. Mooncalf, 43 in that guy for 10% stamina increase. Arcanist, this isn't ideal, but I just wanted to keep the other numbers where they were. So we're running only 3% in Arcanist. We could take a point out of something else to run it into 4, but then they will all round down. Any CP that rounds down, you lose a whole % reduction on it, so it's kind of not good. Health recovery, because with 37 points into that, we get 9%, 7% tenacity with 27 points. Our health recovery with a potion up is 1022, so it's kind of a nice number if you run an Artaeum. That's a lot of health recovery, so that's why I run the points into healthy. And then having 120 in the Lover gets us windrunning, which I personally believe is one of the most underrated passives in the game. 10% while sprinting, I mean, that's a good amount of magic recovery right there. So it also increases our speed by 2%, which isn't a lot, but it is noticeable once you've had it for a while and then you don't, especially on an orc. Oh, forgot to mention, yeah, I'm an orc. I think orc is the best. I recommend the Tower Mundus if you're not an orc or a Nord or something that gets a stam bonus. The other races are good, but I really think it's important to get over 30k stam. So we've got 61 points into Tumbling, 21%, and 16 points into Shadow Ward to reduce the cost of block by 7%. Helps a little bit. I'm running 32 Bless. This gives us 8% healing done. This is a good amount of boost to our healing, so I really like that there. Running 72 Master in Arms and 11 Physical Weapon Expert. This is important if you're good at light attack weaves. They can get pretty high with the Butcher passive. You can get some pretty beefy light attacks out on people, especially if they crit. Not running anything into Thaumaturge anymore because jabs scale solely off of Master at Arms now. 66 precise strikes to pump our critical damage up to 22% because, like I said, we have those guaranteed crits with the Mechanical Acuity. 33 increased our physical penetration. We did put some in here because you know, we're only getting 5 seconds of the bonus penetration from Onslaught, so this does help, you know, all the other occasions we're in a fight and our Onslaught it got dodged or it isn't up yet or something. And then Mighty, 12%, 56 points in that guy. Ironclad, I run 61 for 21%. I run 21 points in Spell Shield. The reason I run 21 into Spell Shield and nothing in Medium Armor Focus is because with Stamplar we get Balanced Warrior passive, which increases our spell resistance by 2640. So this plus the CP means that if I'm standing on my rune and I have a resistance potion, I get 27, and they're both 27. They're about the same. So that just kind of evens the resistances out. You could stack more than, you know, like if you're gonna duel someone or do battlegrounds, you can stack them in one direction or another. So that's for resistances. I run 34 thick skin. This is definitely a lower number than I've run in the past. I think the dots are just not very threatening right now, aside from like maybe the Dawnbreaker dot, but not a lot of people are running Dawnbreaker anyways. So, and then 43 Hardy, 43 Ellie, so both those get 10% reduction. We do want to make sure we get 120 in the Lady regardless, so we can get the Unchained passive. This is a huge help with sustain for stamina. So, and then 15 quick recovery just to boost our healing a little bit more, and get the Field Physician passive. I like this one for when I'm doing duos or something, just so I can res a buddy in a tower or something and take a little bit less damage while doing so. So that's all for CP. So real quick, just wanted to go over some combos. So we buff up, make sure all our buffs are up, and then we go to our front bar, Javelin, bash cancel the power of the light, and we start jabbing, get our Onslaught in, and then our Mechanical Acuity is going to proc. You can't see it as easily as you can always, but it was up right there. The screen turned blue, the outline of the edges, and then when power of the light and everything procs, we do a ton of damage. And that's basically the build. Real quick, I want to go over the stats. So yeah, you can see our max weapon critical was 100%, so Mechanical Acuity did proc, even though we don't always turn blue this patch with Shuffle Up like we used to. That actually also helps. So when we get the onslaught to crit and the power of the light to crit, obviously it's going to be less damage on a player, but you just see how much stuff is critting. All the burning light procs crit. Everything crits. Even quick cloak on our back bar while it's still running crits. And so it's huge damage all at once on this build. One thing I will just say that helped me a lot is just kind of getting the order down. So I go javelin and bash cancel power of the light, and then I start jabbing and light attack between each skill, of course. So bash canceling the power of the light is something that, in my opinion, just makes it a lot more fluid and flow better. And yeah, you could also see there that, for some reason we only turn blue when we don't have shuffle up. I don't know why that is. So anyways, let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns in the comments section below. I'd really like to be able to help in any way I can.